And if the reality you perceive is not the only possible reality, and if the truth about what you cannot do is, in fact, the most convenient of fictions that your mind has learned to accept, this idea may seem like an abyss, a discomfort, that we prefer to ignore. But it is precisely in this discomfort that an unimaginable freedom resides. Before we unravel how these fictions become bars, click like and subscribe. What we are going to explore here may be the key that opens doors that you didn't even know existed. There was a time, especially in the decades that followed major world conflicts, when a deep voice echoed through the radio waves, offering not news or superficial entertainment, but a philosophical nugget of gold wrapped in simplicity. Earl Nightingale, a man who survived the attack on Pearl Harbor floating in wreckage for 2 days, emerged from this experience with a crystal-clear conviction about the power of the human mind. He spent his life articulating what he called the strangest secret. We become that which we think about most of the time. This phrase, at first glance, may sound like just another motivational cliché, something seen stamped on coffee mugs or in superficial social media posts. But stop for a moment and feel the real weight of these words. It's not about a vague promise that thinking positive magically will bring good things into your life. It's something much deeper and at the same time more challenging. Nightingale, with his calm and measured voice, was inviting us to a dive into the depths of our own consciousness, to face the fact that we are the architects, often unconscious, of our own prison or our own freedom. He was not talking about superficial positive thinking, but about the architecture of our internal reality and how this architecture projects itself into the external world. Think of Carl Jung, the renowned Swiss psychiatrist who explored the concept of the collective unconscious and the shadow. Jung showed us that we carry within us not only the light of our consciousness, but also the darkness of our repressed parts, our fears and limiting beliefs. And these shadows, when not recognized and integrated, can manifest as invisible walls that prevent us from moving forward. Nightingale's idea resonates with Jungian psychology by reminding us that the reality we experience is, in large part, a reflection of our inner world. If in our inner selves we cultivate beliefs of incapacity, of inadequacy, that we are not good enough, these beliefs will project themselves onto our perception of the world, coloring our experiences and limiting our actions. It's like wearing a pair of glasses with dark lenses. The whole world will seem gloomy, even if the sun is shining brightly. The walls that surround us, Nightingale argued with a penetrating calm, are rarely made of concrete or insurmountable external circumstances. Most of the time, they are built with the invisible bricks of our own accepted beliefs, of the narratives we repeat to ourselves about who we are and what we are capable of. These narratives often are silent, whispers that become so familiar that we don't even question their veracity. I'm not good with numbers. I don't have talent for that. That's not for me. I am just like this. I can't change. How many times have you caught yourself repeating phrases like these without even stopping to analyze where they came from, if they really reflect the truth about you, or if they are just echoes of external voices, of past experiences, of internalized fears? Imagine a child who tries to ride a bicycle for the first time and falls. If she internalizes the experience as proof that she can't ride a bicycle, this belief can become a wall that prevents her from even trying again. But what if instead she interpreted the fall as part of the learning process, as valuable feedback that brings her closer to success? The crucial difference lies in the narrative she chooses to internalize. The contemporary world, with its incessant noise and its avalanche of information, paradoxically, seems to strengthen these invisible walls. We live in an era of hyperconnection, but also of deep disconnection with ourselves. Social networks, which promise to bring us closer, often become stages of comparison and competition, where we are constantly bombarded by idealized images of success, happiness, and perfection. These images, even if we intellectually know they are artificial constructions, insidiously feed the belief that we are not good enough, that we are falling behind, that we will never reach that standard. We are bombarded by models of success, by veiled comparisons on social networks, by narratives of scarcity and competition that push us into predefined boxes. The very speed of modern life discourages us from stopping and questioning. This truth about my ability, about what is realistic or possible, where did it come from? Was it me who chose it, or did I just absorb it from the environment, like dust that accumulates without us noticing? We get so busy navigating the flow that we forget to ask if the river is taking us where we really want to go. It's like being in a car at high speed with the autopilot on, following a GPS programmed by someone else. You are moving forward, apparently progressing, but without clarity about the final destination, without questioning if that route really takes you to the place you want to reach. Neuroscience shows us that the human brain is incredibly adaptable, a phenomenon known as neuroplasticity. Our experiences, our thoughts, and our emotions constantly shape neural connections, creating patterns of thought and behavior that are reinforced over time. If you repeatedly expose yourself to narratives of limitation, if you constantly compare yourself with others unfavorably, if you focus on what you cannot do, you are literally strengthening the neural pathways that support these limiting beliefs. Your brain becomes more efficient at perceiving and interpreting the world through the lenses of limitation, confirming your own negative expectations. And here lies the silent conflict that many carry in their chest. That uncomfortable feeling of unrealized potential, that glimpse of a broader, bolder life that always seems out of reach. It's as if there were a melody inside you, a song of your soul that longs to be expressed, but that is muffled by the noise of doubts and fears. You feel that there is more in you, that you are capable of much more than you are living, but something prevents you from taking the next step, from breaking through the invisible barriers that imprison you. It is the internal voice that whispers, "What if?" But it is quickly silenced by the chorus of impossibilities that we have learned to call reality. We feel the friction between the desire for expansion and the habit of containment. We want to fly, but we devoutly believe in the force of gravity of our supposed limitations. It is a comfortable prison, perhaps, because it exempts us from the vertigo of total responsibility for our own life, but still, a prison. This comfortable prison is the comfort zone, a familiar and safe place, but which, paradoxically, prevents us from growing and reaching our maximum potential. It's like a muscle that is not exercised. It atrophies, loses strength and flexibility. Likewise, when we remain trapped in the comfort zone, our skills and talents go dormant, our creativity stagnates, and life becomes increasingly predictable and monotonous. But what if the key turn is not in fighting against these walls, but in recognizing their illusory nature? Imagine yourself in front of a mirror. You see yourself reflected there, with all your physical characteristics, your clothes, your posture. But you know that the reflection is not reality. It's just an image, a representation of reality. Likewise, the walls you perceive around you, the limitations you believe you have, may be just distorted reflections of your own mind, projections of your beliefs and fears. Nightingale was not just proposing positive thinking. He was inviting us to a radical audit of our own mind. This radical audit is a process of deep and honest self-examination, of questioning our most ingrained beliefs, of deconstructing the limiting narratives we tell ourselves. It's an invitation to become detectives of our own mind, to investigate the origin of our beliefs, to identify which of them serve us and which imprison us. The transformative insight is this: limits are not discovered in the external world, they are decreed in the internal world. They are permissions that we deny ourselves. This is the essence of Nightingale's message. and one of the pillars of Stoic philosophy, which teaches us that our happiness and freedom do not depend on external circumstances, but rather on our internal attitude, our choices and judgments. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "It is not things themselves that disturb men, but their judgments about these things." In other words, it is not external events that determine our experience, but rather the way we interpret and react to these events. Our limits, therefore, are not imposed by the world, but rather by our own interpretations and beliefs. When you firmly believe that you cannot do something, learn a new skill, change careers, build a deep relationship, achieve financial freedom, this belief operates as a command for your subconscious mind, which then filters reality to confirm this truth. It seeks evidence of your inability and ignores the possibilities of success. The reality you experience is, to a large extent, a projection of this root belief. It is the phenomenon of self-fulfilling prophecy, a well-documented concept in social psychology. If you believe you're going to fail, unconsciously, you will behave in ways that increase the probability of failure. Your subconscious mind, like an obedient servant, will strive to confirm your beliefs, even if these beliefs are limiting and harmful. The proposal, then, is not a blind leap of faith, but an act of intellectual and emotional courage. To choose, to question your most ingrained limitations. It's not about denying objective challenges, the real difficulties that life presents to us. It's not about ignoring statistics, probabilities, the obstacles that are placed in our path, but rather to refuse to accept self-imposed barriers as immutable facts, to challenge the internal voices that tell us you cannot, you are not capable, that is impossible for you. Ask yourself, what is the origin of this belief? Does it serve my growth or my stagnation? This limiting belief that prevents you from moving forward, where did it come from? Was it a traumatic personal experience? Criticism from someone important to you? A generalization from an isolated event? Or did you simply absorb it from the environment, from culture, from social expectations? And more importantly, does this belief strengthen you or weaken you? Does it propel you forward or keep you stuck in the same place? What would happen if, just as an experiment, I acted as if this limitation were not real? Imagine for a moment if you freed yourself from that limiting belief that imprisons you. How would you feel? What would you do differently? What opportunities would you begin to see? Try for a day, for an hour, for a few minutes, to act as if that limitation did not exist. Take a small step towards your goal, even if it's just a symbolic step. Surprise yourself with what might happen. It's not about denying objective challenges, but about refusing to accept self-imposed barriers as immutable facts. It is to consciously choose which thoughts you will allow to dominate your mind, as Nightingale suggested. It is an act of inner sovereignty. This inner sovereignty is the power to regain control of your own mind, to become the master of your thoughts, instead of being a slave to them. It is the ability to consciously choose which beliefs you will cultivate, which narratives you will internalize, which thoughts you will allow to guide your actions. It is a continuous process of self-awareness, self-governance, self-empowerment. The consequences of this change of perspective are profound. When you stop accepting limits as absolute truths and start to see them as hypotheses to be tested, the world reconfigures itself. It's like changing the lenses of your glasses again, but this time, putting on lenses that broaden the vision, that reveal vibrant colors, that show details that previously went unnoticed. The horizon widens. Obstacles that seemed like insurmountable. Mountains may reveal themselves to be mere hills, or even optical illusions created by the fog of fear and doubt. The mountain metaphor is powerful here. From afar, a mountain may seem imposing, insurmountable, a gigantic obstacle. But as you get closer, you realize that it is composed of paths, of trails, of passages that can be explored. And when climbing the mountain, you discover incredible landscapes, panoramic views, a totally new perspective, new solutions appear, unexpected resources arise, right people cross your path. Not by magic, but because your mind, now freed from the straitjacket of self-imposed limitation, is finally open to perceive the opportunities that have always been there, waiting to be recognized. The straitjacket of self-imposed limitation is a strong image to describe the mental state in which we imprison ourselves when we believe in our own limitations. It's as if we put on ourselves tight, uncomfortable clothing that restricts our movements, that prevents us from breathing fully, that suffocates us. By freeing ourselves from this straitjacket, our mind expands, our creativity blossoms, our vital energy is renewed. You begin to live not as a prisoner of circumstances, but as the conscious architect of your experience. You become the protagonist of your own story, the author of your own destiny. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become an agent of transformation, a creator of your own reality. You realize that life is not something that happens to you, but something that happens through you, through your choices, your actions, your mentality. If the limits that hold you back today were just suggestions that you accepted without questioning, what different, more expansive and powerful suggestion would you choose to listen to and start believing from now on? Share in the comments. A limiting truth that you feel it's time to challenge. Your vulnerability and courage can inspire others on this journey. And of course, if this reflection resonated with you, subscribe to continue exploring together the depths of the mind and the vast possibilities of human existence.